And that's why I'm always on the run. What is going on, everybody? This is the Coverband Confidential podcast, a podcast for cover band musicians and bandleaders to learn how to rock more and sunglasses. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I am Dan Ray.
So, Always on the Run by Lenny Kravitz was a song that popped up. You were talking about like a theme night for the acoustic trivia, wasn't it?
Yes. And the theme. So, we do a theme every week, and I've been repeating them. It's been decades, and then love songs, and then I've been bored. And so I said to my wife, what's a new theme? What would be a new theme for trivia? She said, your mom. And I was like, okay, done. And so it's the next week of trivia is going to be songs that mention moms, about moms, have mama in the title. Mama, I'm coming home is in the list. Like mom, your mom. The theme is your mom.
Yep.
And so I brought that up on the Patreon
theme is
Slack.
Your mom.
Yeah, all of it. Brought that up on the Patreon Slack, and you mentioned a song, not by its proper name, actually. We had to look it up. But there's a Lenny Kravitz tune called...
Yeah, which is like, as an absolute like perfectionist nerd, I was super embarrassed that I didn't have the right name.
I get it. It's all right. And when I listened to the whole song, I knew that I'd heard it before, but what it is Always on the Run by Lenny Kravitz, where the verse is a repetition of my mama said something. The verse is like that.
So on
times.
and so forth.
Yeah. And it's, and I will say generally my feeling of Lenny Kravitz is he's very repetitive. He finds one really killer riff and does it like 120 times, and that's the song. And this one's kind of like that. Yeah. But it rips, man. It kills. So the tune.
Well, it's got two good riffs.
Awesome riffs. Absolutely. Yeah. The intro riff, and then the whole rest of the song is another riff, and it's it's a good tune. So I have been a little obsessed with it since we brought it up and since we listened to it on the Slack, and I posted a video of myself playing it, having figured out that riff, and it's a good tune. Always on the Run. You should check it out, Lenny Kravitz.
So, the inside baseball about that tune is that it was a co-write with one Saul Hudson, also known as Slash,
who thought of it as a Guns N' Roses tune until he heard Lenny belt it, and then was like, "Oh no, this one belongs to you." And so he recorded it with. I mean, it was his. He's the one playing the riff on the album. And then you posted a video of Lenny Kravitz doing it with Guns N' Roses, which is like as frickin' ballsy a stage presentation as I've ever seen in my life. It's unbelievable. So, everyone needs to check that out.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it was Guns N' Roses, but like the horn section was there, like the whole like back line of background vocals were there. It was
three
like
girl background singers,
it just swung like a rubber ducker, and
incredible.
I took that video and I posted it on my Facebook page. I was like, I don't think more swagger has like ever like been contained on one stage since that video was posted. That performance occurred. It's so gnarly. Yeah. So if you've forgotten that one, you should go look it up because it rips.
It's a badass
Always on the
song.
Run.
Fully badass song. Here's the other thing. I think it's going to fit in my dance medley alongside Superstition and Play That Funky Music. It's in the same key, and it's got the same kind of aggressive kind of groove, like backbeatness to it. And so I'm going to work on how I can fit that in.
Yeah, you could take, like, if you put it in that mix, you could kind of like, you could halftime one of those tunes to kind of like fit that kind of swing to it, I think. Yeah.
It's slower than all the rest of them. It's kind of a dirtier groove. It's a lot slower and
syrupy.
It's a lot thicker.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So, what else has been going on?
Listen, I'm marketing so we're doing another weekend of the Dan Ray Experience at this place in Greensboro here called State Street Wine Company. We did one
DRE
a month ago, and it was super fun. So for the Friday night, it'll be karaoke. Saturday night, it'll be the full band, and Sunday afternoon, it'll be me solo. And it is the band's, which is a brand new project. It's our first kind of public gig. We've played a couple of times, but they've been private events. This is our first coming out. This is our first public debut. And so, another thing that happened on the Patreon Slack is we started talking about memes and leveraging memes for marketing. And so I've actually built a meme a day. I actually have the Meta Business Manager set up to drop a the new strange related meme every day, up to including like the crackhead, y'all got any more of them new strange memes on like the day before? And my comment is yes we do. And then the last day,
let me give credit where credit's due, though.
Please.
Chris from Mackin's Rock, that was his idea.
It was a good idea.
He DM'd me. He's like, should we add a channel to the Slack that's just literally for memes that we've used for promotion? And so I created one called Meme Exchange, and it is just like best practices kind of thing. And it's been a wildly
super
entertaining and valuable addition to the conversation we've been having.
Yeah, our very first party gig was the Saturday after the infamous slap, the Chris Rock slap. Will Smith, thank you. Yeah, and so I used that picture of him as like, your plans for Saturday night and the new strange slapping them, and it went okay. People shared that a little bit, but it was in a moment of like a lot of sharing of memes like that, so it's hard to, I don't know, hard to find that. But I've got Confused Fry from Futurama, right? Can't tell if the song is ending or if this is a new strange dance medley. So some fun stuff that like goes back to vintage classic memeing. So we'll see if people show up.
Good times.
People actually coming to the show is the crucial measure of whether any marketing works. So we'll see.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
So you've also been kind of out of the game just a little bit, haven't you? You've kind of been in
look, we got
quarantine-ish.
a round of COVID happening here that's confusing and weird. I have not yet tested positive despite having what seem like symptoms, but maybe not. Maybe it's all in my head. I don't know. I'm a little wrapped around the axle about it, but for sure I've delivered a lot of meals upstairs to where the rest of my family certainly is positive with COVID over the last week.
Yeah.
And so tonight I have a daughter who's a vegetarian and a wife who has some food allergies that I don't have, and so we end up usually making a lot of meals all at once. And so tonight I did all the timing and all the work, and I had all the meals emerge from the toaster oven and the microwave and the stove and the cooktop all at the same time, and I got them all on the tray and carried them all up at once and came back down and had a glass of wine because it was too much. I couldn't, so totally overwhelmed by what it takes to do that for a week and a half now. So hopefully that'll wrap up soon. It's a lot. And I did cancel some shows on the strength of like, I haven't felt great, but maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. I have not yet had a positive test. But I also haven't felt great. So it's weird. It's a weird time of the world. Like we've been saying that for 2.5 years now, and it's still true.
Yeah, I had almost like convinced myself I didn't have COVID when I did.
Yeah,
because I was like, it can't be that bad. And then I was like, as soon as I tested immediately, I was like, no, that was it.
No, that's the thing. And I think the point's going to come where like, and I don't think we're far from it, where the worst thing about testing positive of COVID is that you've tested positive of COVID. Like the symptoms aren't a big deal. Mm-hmm. As long as you've gotten vaccinated, I think people who haven't still probably go through some stuff. Yeah. So you should if you haven't been. But it's like the consequences of the positive test are worse than the symptoms by far. And so I don't know what that means. I don't know what to do about that. There'll come a time where it's like, oh, something's going around. Oh, it's COVID. Okay. We're probably not quite there yet, but that's the end game, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I like this. This is the first time where you've been the one that like totally drops the mood of the episode at the top.
Well, let's fix that.
So now you get to Mrs. Lincoln the conversation.
Anyway, apart from that, how was the play?
So listen, I went cross country this past week.
Mm-hmm.
So this past last Thursday, I got on a plane and I flew to Seattle, Washington, to hang out with a bunch of guys I've never met in real life. One of them being the original drummer for a band called Emery, if anybody is a fan of them. I hung out at his house and hung out with his wife and stuff, and we just kind of, it was like a men's retreat, kind of learning how to be better dudes, as they say. I jumped in some real cold water, did some workouts, read some books, did some things, and met some cool guys. It was great. Awesome. Had a great time. I did have to swing by the Sub Pop store on my way back from the Airbnb that we were staying at. Got some swag and looked around a little bit, and it was fun. Nice. I really love Seattle. I didn't get a chance to do too many of the touristy things. I've done most of those though.
Seattle's a fun town.
Great town.
Yeah,
for sure. And actually, the big chunk of conversation we are having this evening comes from a listener who lives in the Seattle area, so it's a fun little tieback.
Coincidence.
What are the odds? It's a little kismet kind of situation.
It all comes together.
Let's see. In other news, this week is the 2 gigs, 2 bands, 2 days scenario. And what that looks like on my end is a pretty low-key back-to-school weekend at home with the fam, followed by a Monday night rehearsal with the pop-punk group. I've got to be fully transparent. I have not even started prepping for that gig. For me, it's a lead vocal only. We brought another guitar player in, and so I'm not playing a lick of guitar, so all I have to worry about is lyrics. And I'm in that kind of like headspace where like I know the songs, but I don't know them.
Right. So
there's going to be some dialing in on that, and I should be able to make it through the Monday rehearsal without too much issue. The other thing that's going on is
hang on. Before you go on that, do you know what happens if you sing a verse twice?
Tell me.
Nothing. Audience doesn't notice. Nothing happens.
Here's the other thing, is like what a lot of folks don't quite understand about this whole like pop punk emo era as far as the audience goes. I anticipate I'm only going to have to sing roughly 60% of the lyrical content.
That's right. The audience has got the rest.
Because it is like astounding how loud these guys can get, and it's so much fun.
That's good.
I've done 80s, I've done 90s. I like the energy level of these particular shows is unrivaled. It's not even close.
Cool. So
much fun. I'm so looking forward to it. This could be a gig where I make approximately negative $1 billion. Like I may not make a single dime from the show, and I don't care. I'm so excited that it's just happening at all.
Cool.
And when we kind of get on the other side of it, we'll be good to go, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then so the other thing that's happening on Friday is I'm subbing for guitar for a friend of the pod, Braxton, from originally El Scorcho, but he's got an 80s new wave group called ATL Vice, and I am filling in for their lead guitar player on Friday evening at a gig at literally less than 2 miles from my house.
Nice. So
early load in, 6 p.m. downbeat, done by 8. Fully prepared for the gig to get rained out, because every time I've done this gig, it's gotten rained out. But we got on a FaceTime call this afternoon to kind of like dial in all the parts on who's playing what. And there was only one there was only one specific curveball. There was a song where I was like, so this tune, I Got You. There's not really guitar on that one, it's mostly like horns and stuff. He's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, it's James Brown's song, right? He's like, no. So I Got You by Split Enz. I was like, do what now? So I'm glad we had that conversation, because I was fully prepared to be doing some like horn lines or something. And so for those of you who are not really plugged in with early 80s New Zealand rock bands, Split Enz, ENZ, by the way, was the group, the predecessor to Crowded House. Yeah. And they had a song called I Got You, and I'd never heard it before until literally maybe a couple hours ago, so I need to work on that one.
Fair enough.
Everything else is there's a bunch of tunes I've never done before, and some that I have done, but it's been a while. Couple of cool ones. let's see. A Girl Like You by Smithereens. Never done that one before.
Cool.
Let's see. A lot of these we've done before. One Thing Leads to Another, The Fix. Missionary Man, Eurythmics. Let's see. Still Rock and Roll to Me. Got some Billy Joel in there. What was another one? Talking in Your Sleep. Head Over Heels.
Huh. Little
Tears for Fears.
Yeah.
Got a couple of Cheap Trick songs, and then a lot of stuff that like Members Only already does. So it was a good amount of stuff that I really need to like dig into and do my homework on, but not too many where it was untenable.
Do you have
I've been
a
doing
rhythm?
my little system?
Yeah.
Kind of working through the stuff in small chunks of the past 3 weeks.
It's good.
And so we're gonna get into it. This week is the one where I'm like, I got some board mixes from them where I'm just gonna play along, so I have a better idea to get the arrangements, and I'll probably start charting some stuff out, make sure I know how the structure goes.
Sure. Do you have a rhythm player?
Yes. So Braxton is the other guitar player.
Okay. All right.
So I will be, but there was a lot of stuff where I was like we're doing Money for Nothing, and I was like, it's not super technical, but it's a vibe that's
specific.
You've got to figure out.
Yeah. If you don't, yeah.
So like we were talking about that. He's like, oh, I've got that. I was like, oh my, like.
Thank God.
I was so
well. The one you mentioned that's
so
that
much.
way is Talking in Your Sleep. There's a very specific rhythm part for that. That's very idiomatic.
Yeah. I'll tell you the real one is One Thing Leads to Another. That's the fix song. It's literally that one riff.
Yeah.
You got to know it.
Yeah. Same way.
It's a good one though.
Yeah. I love both of those tunes. I have them. It's interesting. I have them connected in my head in a similar way that like Elvira and what was the other one we talked about last week?
That was
you're gonna
make me feel bad.
Me too. No, I feel bad because it's
a lady. It's a lady with two names.
Lady with two names. Anyway, the point is those ones, Talking in Your Sleep and well, now I can't remember the ones we were just talking about. One Thing Leads to Another. Yeah. Very much. I heard them both in the same month of my youth, right? And so they're like close in my brain, but they're also close kind of stylistically. There's some very idiomatic guitar work in that you got to get right, and it's not lead work; it's rhythm work. So
it's one guitar player, or in case of the Fix, it's in Talking in Your Sleep, two pretty predominant parts.
Yeah,
and you can play it with one person, but that person's going to be really upset.
They'll be busy.
If you play with two people,
they'll be busy.
It's a lot more fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
Anyway,
So
both of them are great
that's
tunes.
what I got going on this week.
Cool.
No YouTube video. Just between travel and gig prep and all the other stuff I got going on, just wasn't gonna happen.
Look, don't feel bad. It happens.
Hey, listen, don't tell me how to feel.
I encourage you.
I can beat myself up without anybody's help.
My recommendation is that you not feel bad. Feel free to not take my recommendation.
I'll take it under advisement.
Look, if feeling bad is more important to you than other things, then let her rip.
I'm working on that. That's what this whole retreat thing was about. I got got a whole working process to try to figure stuff out.
Good. Yeah.
And be easier on myself.
Good.
I did a lot of good business stuff too. When the videos commence on the YouTube channel, I think we're going to talk about business. Talk about incorporating kind of the nuts and bolts of that whole process. I think that's a good topic. I just didn't have enough time to properly structure it and get it ready. So.
Sure.
And even in the Slack channel, people are like, "Oh yeah, we haven't quite done that, so let's talk about it." So, cool beans. All right. We ready to get into the thingamajiggy?
Let's do it.
All right. This week's topic is a good one, and it's for the singers out there. And Dan, you and I have been accused of being vocalists in our past.
It's true.
And so
a time or two we have been.
So we are, we're just the guys to tackle this. This week's topic comes from Brady Jones, who sent us an email earlier in the week, and they had a question about lead vocalists. So we'll just get to it. Hi guys, love your podcast. I'm a lead vocalist for an 80s rock cover band here in Seattle. Shout out to Seattle. Called Black Bangs.
Nice.
So if you're in the Seattle area, check out Black Bangs. We don't play a lot. It's a side project for my husband's band, Memphis Radio Kings. They're an alt-rock group. My question is, if you are singing a song that was originally sang by someone that has an accent, do you try to sing the song with the same type of pronunciation of lyrics in their accent? The example provided was Don't Change by NXS. Thank you for reading. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. Thanks, Brady J. So big thanks to Brady and the guys in Black Bangs for reaching out.
Yep.
We love to talk about stuff that you guys are curious about. So the first thing that I did after I sent it to after I sent the question to Dan was to drop it into the Slack channel, and a lot of thoughts.
Yeah,
there does not appear to be a silver bullet solution to this particular conversation.
No,
so I'm going to go ahead and let Dan start this one off, and then we can just kind of dig into let's say the finer details, the intricacies of the topic.
Unfortunately, my answer goes right to the intricacies because you posted it to the Slack channel with like a thumbs up for yes, thumbs down for no. And I immediately posted shrugging shoulders for sometimes, maybe, because it's a complicated question. It's a really complicated question. It turns out, in fact, as we discussed it, it got more complicated for me than I thought it was. The reality is this at first glance, this is a derivative case of the question called, should we perform songs as true to the recording as possible, or should we make them our own?
Yep.
And the answer to that is yes, you should do one of those things.
Indeed.
And which one you should do is your choice. And I think as long as you are making a choice about that consciously, it's the right choice. I don't have an opinion about that, really. And I'm not opinionated one way or the other about bands I go see. Like I enjoy when somebody really nails it just like the recording. It just hits something I love about that. And I really love it when somebody interprets a song in a way that's really interesting and new and great. And I really love that. There are audiences that will have different feelings about those different things. But ultimately, what makes what we're doing art is that it is interpretive. It is creative in terms of, we're starting from a thing that people know, and then we're putting our stamp on it in a way that alters it creatively. When it's altered as a result of deficiencies in one way or another, we don't have the chops, or we don't have the personnel, or we don't have the instruments, like that's a bummer. But when it's altered on purpose, deliberately, I think that's great. I'm all about that. So if for you, carrying through the original singer's inflection and accent is an important part of the song, let her rip. And if it's not, also let her rip. Either way is fine. That was my first cut at it. That was my first flush of answer. Yeah. And then my answer evolved as we discussed it on the Patreon Slack, right? So at which point you chimed in. So anything you want to say about that first response of mine?
Yeah, it's definitely that is ultimately the conversation to have, is what I'm doing adding to or taking away from the content of the material.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of cases it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think for a very solid chunk of songs, the pronunciation doesn't really play into it.
Yeah.
But what really kind of seemed to play itself out as everybody started to chime in is that everybody's got their songs.
Yeah.
They're these kind of like set in stone, like the accent is the part of the delivery that has to be there in order for this to work.
And the one example that kept coming up was I'm going to be 500 miles. Yeah. Proclaimers. And I'm guilty. I don't know, guilty. I do this. When I play that song, I honestly, God, I sing, so be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall. I totally do that. 1,000 miles. I completely lean into that. I do it way bigger than they do it. It's kind of the joke of that song because it's a goofy song, and like leaning into the goofiness really works.
Well, and also like if you don't, there's words in there that just don't make sense.
Yeah.
If I heava, like what is
the
heaver?
man who's heaving to you. You have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
It's when I'm dreaming. I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you.
You have to do it. You have to do it. That song demands being done in that accent. Demands
absolutely. So there's this one particular account on TikTok is this redheaded gal who presents as an Irish looking white person who is Mexican, like from Mexico. And one of the things like that helped blow her account up is her talking in what she calls a gringa accent to her Mexican mother.
All right.
And so she's doing the yo soy caliente, and her mother is just
just losing her
furious.
mind. I'm sure. Oh my God.
So there's definitely something to be said about misdelivering certain songs or certain content. But yeah, that was one of those things that was super funny, that like the general agreement was the Proclaimers has to be done a certain way. It just doesn't work.
Now,
another one that kept jumping out, which is, one of my favorites, is I Believe in a Thing Called Love by the Darkness.
Yes.
So, there's certain lines in there that have to be delivered a certain way because it's the way the song sounds right. So, in that, Justin Hawkins says "fing" instead of "thing," and you've got to kind of like hit it with a certain kind of zazz in order for the lyrics to carry the right way.
That's right.
And I think Ed Sheeran kind of falls into that category too. He's a person who like his Englishness is like a component of his songwriting.
Yeah. Now, however, there was the counterpoint, which is brought up by Donnie Howard, who's one of our Patreons, who said, I do a number of Bob Marley songs, and I'm not going to try and fake a Jamaican accent doing those. And, it's true. I do a bunch of Bob Marley songs too, and I do them in a way that feels true to me, but I'm not doing like a patois about it. I'm not doing a Jamaican accent.
Yeah.
And it would feel weird to me to do it in like, some weird, like, I don't know, that would feel, I don't know, exploitative or I don't know, it just would feel strange to do it that way. So there's...
Well, you had said, is this appropriation? And I was like, it's not appropriation.
Yeah, it's kind of appropriation. And so the thing to note is that like all of the bands that we say, oh no, you got to do it their way, they're all white guys. Yeah. That's true.
It's true.
So, I think that's part of it. I think you have to be respectful of the audience, the cultural source that you're working from. I think that's part of it.
Now, on a flip side, though, there's definitely been some really cool examples of people taking kind of like a straightforward delivery and adding their own kind of cultural spice to it.
Sure.
So you can kind of go about it two different ways. You can make things unique really in the way that only you can. Yeah. I think the through line is that there is no through line. There's not a hard rule. Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, you've got to do what makes sense. Yeah. Like, can you do all the small things without sounding like Tom DeLonge?
No.
Sure.
I mean, you could.
No, you absolutely can. It just won't be as fun. Right. Or you can't do I Miss You without doing the "Don't waste your time on me, you're already the voice inside my head." Right. It just doesn't sound right.
Doesn't sound right. Yeah.
So do what sounds right, or do something that makes it better.
If it has a jangle for you of like, I don't know if I should be doing that, listen to that jangle. Yeah, no, it's probably right. Pay attention to that.
But that's true. That's true for any vocalist. Like,
true.
You got to do what feels right for you.
That's right.
It doesn't matter what it is.
That's right.
if the key's not right, if the lyrics don't resonate with you, or okay, we're getting so off course.
Let's go.
Are you a pronouns guy?
I mean,
like, can you sing a girl song without changing the pronouns?
Oh, totally. I can absolutely. I can sing a girl song without changing the pronouns. 100%.
That is one of my pet peeves. I'm not a fan of people changing the pronouns in songs because, I'm a guy, I can't sing about another guy. Like, who cares?
Stupid.
Like,
that's stupid. Just sing it.
Yeah. It screams insecurity.
And frankly, I kind of love it. We've got a bunch of songs in the New Strange where Taylor sings a boy song and does it like, I'm the man who's gonna, like, whatever it is. And same with me. Like, we keep it true the way it is, and we just change up the genders, and it's fun. It's actually fun. So, but yeah, no, I do think somebody who can't sing a girl's part, listen, John Prine, I Am an Old Woman, named after my mother. Like, it's a man singing that. There's no mistaking his voice, but like, he's telling a story about a character. Like, get with what's happening, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had another idea, another thought that kind of was creeping through as we were talking about. So one of, like, I went to school for music business, talking about the recording industry. And apparently, Dwight Yoakam, when he came to Nashville, he kind of stood out from the crowd because when he started like shopping demos and kind of like getting in there, he would do covers of female songs. And that was kind of like his angle. I have no empirical data to back that up. It was a story that I heard from a teacher in a class, but that was always kind of like an interesting, component, something that kind of stood out.
I have done female artists as a trivia theme, right? So I've done like, man, I feel like a woman. I've done, you make me feel like a natural woman. And I don't change it up to like, you make me feel like a natural man. Like, come on, just.
Well, and you have to like you'd have to like make me feel like a natural man.
Yuck.
You know what we should do? So that should be another topic, like things that you can do to completely like destroy the integrity of a song.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good topic.
Yeah, it would.
Coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. What ideas do you have to completely destroy the integrity of a song? We want specific examples. I think that would be a fantastic thing to dig into.
Yeah, it's super fun.
So hopefully that's helpful. I would say, if you're an American and it's a song by a British act and you think that there's something to the way that they pronounce stuff, go for it. It's not a big deal.
No.
Like we do Just Like Heaven. I can't not do the Robert Smith voice.
Right.
Like, you can't.
No.
Because if I just went, show me how you do that trick.
No.
Like, no, it's
nope.
show me how you do that. Like, you got to do it.
You got to do it. Yeah.
Or make it completely different. Like, there's few compromises in some of those circumstances.
Yeah.
And actually, let's add that. Coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. What other songs do you have to do like the record? To make it work? Yeah. I want to, like, let's put like a comprehensive list of songs you just have to pronounce like the original artist did. I got to do it.
Yeah.
Hit us up.
Love it.
Any other parting words?
No, although I spent a lot of time playing Everybody Wants to Rule the World in my version of it, and it never really worked. And then I actually put in the work to learn it the way that it is, with a couple of weird little short lead breaks and some strange moments of it. And it actually works the way it is. It doesn't work any other way. So that's when you got to do its way.
It's got a meter. It's got like a vibe to it. Like, you've got to. That's when you do have to just.
Yeah.
You got to honor it. You got to honor the composition.
Yeah. And learn the parts about. There's a moment in it where it breaks back to the intro riff and then does something else, and the bass moves a different direction that quotes something else that happens elsewhere in the song. And boy, if you get that all right, it's great. And if you get it wrong, it's not. It's like it's not the song. Mm-hmm. I don't feel that way about almost any other tune, but that one, like, once I got it right, it was like, oh, that's how that really needs to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, some songs cannot be improved on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, find a better version of Carry On Wayward Son than the first one.
Yeah. No. Can't be topped.
I will say this. I like the weeks where we just kind of like talk about like the way that we play stuff, or the way that we feel about like particular songs are some of my favorites, because it is just like, at the end of the day, we are just like music nerds that like went so far that we had to learn how to do it.
Yeah, and now we have to go perform it. Yeah. Listen, the first band, once I came back from my big music hiatus in my life, I joined a band, and we did Carry On My Wayward Son, and I was the lead guitarist in that and a lead vocalist. I was doing harmonies on that tune. That's a complex bastard of a song. And there are a lot of little phrases that come together to make that song what it is. And that was one we were, listen, in my current band, we're doing Beggin' by Maneskin, which has some really complex stops to it. That's the only thing I've ever done that's similar in terms of the work it took to get it true to itself. That was a tough one to get together, and we crushed with it. It was good. But we did it as true to itself as we possibly could, because there's nothing else is quite that song.
Yeah, there is no improving on that. Like, to me, compositionally, like that's one of the most perfect like rock and roll songs ever written.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like Bohemian Rhapsody. It's got movement. It's got like parts that like they flow into one another, and they're disparate but like linked.
Yeah.
And as they migrate, like, you know, the mood changes and the things were like 100%. Vocally it's incredible. Like it's just like every single person in that band is firing at all cylinders on that record. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. For my money, the best moment of it is the keyboard that comes da 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 that like offbeat, chord hit there. That's like, this is so juicy, so juicy.
To me, it's the little vocal bridge. The "You will always remember." Yeah. Nothing equals a splendor. It's the now your life's no longer empty. Surely heaven waits for you. That's the one. Surely heaven waits for you.
Yeah.
But again, you can't go, surely heaven waits for you.
Surely heaven waits for you. No.
Yeah, you can't do it.
It doesn't work.
It's for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, when I was being trained as a vocalist, it was all about singing in a British accent, because hard R's are a thing to avoid, right? They kind of jump out of the vocal. So that's what's happening there. They were doing an affected accent.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and it was at that, in that era, like, English bands were cooler than American bands.
Much. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was having to, again, we are so like off the reservation here.
No, this is the topic. We're in it.
So my whole idea, because we were talking about the British invasion and the significance of it and why it was such a big deal, and looking at it from like an anthropological standpoint, the reason why the British invasion was able to happen was that culturally they didn't have all of the racial hangups that America did.
Wow.
So when they received, the rhythm and blues records and just the straight up blues records, they just got to absorb it for what it was. In America, if you were the same age, you were getting the Pat Boone version of that song. You were getting the Ricky Nelson version of those songs.
So
you were getting kind of like a
you could cover the Muddy Waters version and it wasn't a thing.
Yeah,
that's good.
So they were able to absorb the music more honestly, and then interpret it in a way that American musicians just couldn't.
Right.
Until they came over here and were influenced by the English version of the American.
Yeah. No, they brought their cover. They brought the honest version of it with them across the ocean. And because they were white, it was cool.
It's literally like, that's one of those things where like, I mean, the Beatles are the Beatles, like no dispute. The Rolling Stones did that though. It was the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
They literally took Delta Blues,
Yep.
and repackaged it and delivered it in its honest, true form for an audience that
palatably
would, but not only that, but like was literally like prevented from consuming it initially.
Yeah.
It's wild. And that's honest. I mean, that's why rock and roll was so dangerous to the establishment, because it was this thing that they had like literally spent years and
they had whitewashed it for generations.
Preventing from disseminating. Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
A little history lesson for you. Sorry,
Who knew
guys.
we'd end up there on this topic?
This.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
This was not necessarily where we were intending on going, but here we are.
No, I think it's the question. Because like if you're going to sing it in, listen, that's the other thing. If I'm going to do a blues tune, am I going to copy some, black voice? Am I going to do? Listen, when I do a song in my rap medley, am I going to do it like the way Snoop Dogg sounds, or am I going to do it in like a kind of a cleaned up white version of that? I don't know. It's something you got to contend with. I don't know.
Thanks, Vanilla Ice, for making the decisions easier.
For sure. No, listen, covering Ice Baby, you don't have to worry about these things. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, but I still do it like I'm pronouncing it the way that he would do it.
Totally.
Now that the party is jump in.
That part's, it's because it's safe to. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. I'm not sure if people are going to resonate with this. This might be the one where everybody tunes us out.
No, I think people
like we couldn't make it to the end.
I think they're going to get it. I have faith.
Could be. All right. Well, I think we have wandered far enough off the reservation to call it for this week.
All right.
Good convo though. Like, man,
I love it.
Like anytime where we can just riff on like music itself, like that's kind of the best thing I like.
That's what we're here for.
I like to do.
Yeah.
Indeed. And hopefully this was enlightening, entertaining, something for the rest of y'all. So thank you for putting up with the journey that we have sent you on. But it was a good convo, and I love doing this stuff, and I appreciate everybody for their support, for sending emails in, and just tuning in week after week. It's very cool that we still get to do this.
For sure.
That being said, want to go ahead and shout out all the guys in the Patreon. Paul Longdon, who's one of our newer members from Canada, shared one of our videos this today. So it's entered into the merch giveaway contest for August.
Sweet. And
if you would like a free piece of merch, it's pretty easy to do. Share a piece of content, either one of our YouTube videos or a post on Instagram or an episode on whatever social media. Tag me, tag Dan, tag the show, and you get entered into the running.
And you don't have to be a patron for that.
A P-freeze of smack.
Yeah, you don't have to be a patron for that.
A P-freeze.
You could get a P-freeze of smack.
That's what I said.
For each piece of swag.
A Bindance Munset, you guys.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, you don't have to be a Patreon member to do that. You could just be any old, listener guy. And so let it rip. We'd love to see what you share. Or gal, but let's be honest. I want more gals, but doesn't seem to be the way it rolls.
Look, the email that sent was referencing their husband.
Fair.
Let's not be presumptuous.
We're not going to assume things.
So, anywho, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the support. Love each and every one of you. Coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. Send us your questions. We want to know what you are curious about. Even if it's like, hey, stop talking in general. We'll shutter the show. We'll turn the lights off. We'll be done.
Good night.
Otherwise, you can listen to Sammy Hagar's best friend, Adam from the Van Band, about all the other ways that you can show us some love. That being said, let's go ahead and call it for this week. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
You have been listening to the Cover Band Confidential podcast for the week of August 5th, 2022. Have an awesome week.